And this is 2014, but it was written on Homebrewery Legacy, so it displays wrong. But the trick is that we showed you before. You can always come over to source and then hit view, and you can actually read what is there on the page. So like this area that we can't see in the points section, you could just be like, oh, what's the last thing that was written? I'm going to look up damage type. All right, cool. I'm just going to search damage type. And voila, now I know what that says.
Mm-hmm.
If you're hanging out in the backloggery a lot, this happens way more often than anyone could ever have hoped for.
Or should have ever hoped for.
Yeah.
I think is better to put.
I was so frustrated the other day when, oh my god. So Akami didn't tell me that there were other ways to create these files other than Homebrewery. So as I was trying to type up the thing I sent you guys last night, I'm like trying to work with this monstrosity, and I was so frustrated with like the overflow on the pages and everything. And then I got to the end and was like, get PDF, except get PDF, as anyone who's actually used the Homebrewery apparently knows, except me, tries to make a PDF of your browser,
Oh.
not of the thing you just wrote.
Oh.
And
Oh.
only one page of it. Only the...
I didn't. No.
That's not a fun surprise.
And like this explains why all of the Homebrewery things on Reddit are just a series of images instead of a PDF.
Interesting. I got a regular.
Like...
I think it's also because I wrote mine super. You guys will see next week when I give you my handout. I couldn't figure out how to make things work the way I wanted them to on the Homebrewery, which I feel like is something everyone runs into. But someone was like, "Yo, if you want to get your two things to display on the display correctly and be within the page, make a table. It doesn't have to really look like a table, but make a table, and then they'll actually fit in the page." And I feel like most people aren't doing that.
Yeah. And you were right. That is how I finally got one of my images to populate. It makes zero sense. Also, as like CSS is like the absolute worst combination of like 3 other coding languages I've used. Which made every time you thought you knew what a command was going to be, it wasn't. It was one of the other ones.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm never doing this again.
The Homebrewery says, hey, write your stuff up in Markdown. If you were on the internet like 10 years ago and you ran a forum, you know how to use Markdown pretty well. But the Homebrewery's Markdown? Nah. Yeah, that too. Like, nah. And then they're like, oh, by the way, you can put in your HTML code instead. And I was like, why did you not say that? Don't tell me it's Markdown if it's not actually Markdown.
It's a mix. It has both.
It's whatever it wants to be when it feels like it in the moment.
Yeah, I would hit something and it would auto-populate something. I'm like, I haven't seen that syntax since like 1995.
The time machine you didn't ask for. Welcome to Homebrewery.
Cheapskate TARDIS. This is not what I signed up for.
I'm stealing that for the rest of time.
I said Monday jokes all week for you guys.
Ah, thank you.
I'm spent by Monday nights. I have no sense of humor for the rest of the week.
I'm glad you get to put it to a good use, I suppose.
Yeah, I am happy to know that we are part of your humor usage.